We're going to be diving into the post office scandal, you guys. A law to quash convictions are being actively considered by government. This is from Sky News. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with an article from Sky News with the headline of the Post Office Scandal. The law to quash convictions are being actively considered by government. Two former Justice Secretaries have called for legislation to override the convictions, although other options mooted, including a mass appeal and removing the post office from the appeals process. So just as I'm covering this, guys, I'm just going to quickly show you this as well. This has just dropped. The former post office boss, Paula Vennells, has to hand back her CBE. We're going to read into that just after we read on this one, guys. So, well, first of all, what are my thoughts on the post office scandal? This is, do you know what really hurts me more than anything, guys? Is people's lives have been completely and totally destroyed, and the worst thing, the most damning thing about all of this is that those responsible knew that they were going to destroy the lives of innocent people. They knew that innocent lives would be destroyed by this. This is the thing that really upsets me more than anything. That's what really upsets me more than anything. Is that innocent people doing their jobs, and at no fault of their own, these postmasters, sub-postmasters, because of an IT failure, IT system error, had them believe that there was something wrong, when in fact it was always the system. And yet they were still targeted, and their lives were destroyed. Some of them are no longer with us. This has been going on for a long time. I covered on the Snowflake Viewpoint an article from Private Eye. Private Eye have been on this for a long time. And the only reason that people are giving a damn now about this scandal, the only bloody reason people are giving a damn, is because it appeared on an ITV drama. How pathetic is that? It's so pathetic and incompetent on some people that they realise, oh, this is shocking. Yeah, it's shocking because it's been going on for a bloody long time. And yet now, because it's on a drama, that you actually realise that maybe there should be an outrage about this. It's so pathetic. It really is. That it takes an ITV drama for it to get blown up. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad that this is blown up. And I'm glad people are talking about it. But it took a drama for people to realise. Huh? I wonder, if ITV did a drama, yeah, on, let's just say, about the migrants and the way they're being treated. Imagine if they did a drama showing migrants in a camp, in a prison camp in the UK, yeah? A so-called makeshift prison camp, as we would call it. Like RAF Wakefield, right? Just imagine if they did a drama on that and they showed these migrants in inhumane conditions. Some of them wanting to commit suicide, setting themselves on fire, as allegedly what they state. Imagine doing all that. Do you think there would be a public outcry if they were to see that? If it was put on prime time television on ITV? I think there would. Because then people will realise they wouldn't be looking at somebody, oh, that's a person from another country. They wouldn't be looking at their skin colour. They'd be seeing something shocking and horrifying, that this has been happening in their country by our government. How could they allow this to happen? And again, and this here should never have happened. There were warning signs here. Do you know? And then another thing as well is that there have been debates about this as well in government. James O'Brien did a phone-in, and he didn't get much traction on this as well. But it takes a drama for people to realise. It shows sometimes just how really gullible the English people can be sometimes. It really does. It's sad. It really is sad. That people's lives have been completely destroyed. They should all be given dishonor. All of this should be. This needs to be dealt with now, not 5 minutes ago. Now. And all I can the only thing I can say, guys, is that my absolute heart goes out to every single person, whether it's a postmaster, sub postmaster, or any of the friends and family and relatives who have had to suffer through this. Because that's all I can say. Because this should never, ever have happened. And they were allowed to do this. They were allowed to get away with it, these companies. And that's the damnation of all of this. The government is actively considering using legislation to quash all the Horizon scandal convictions, according to the Justice Secretary. Yes, quash them. This should not even be actively considering. This should be, just do it. Just do it. Alex Chalk answered questions about the government's position in between meetings between senior justices to discuss ways to accelerate the appeals of those convicted in the Horizon scandal. As an announcement is expected this week, with Mr. Chalk saying that he expects to be able to make further announcements shortly. The government is facing fresh calls to act following the airing of ITV's drama, The Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, which returned the spotlight to the scandal. Between 1999 and 2015, more than 700 post office branch managers were convicted after the faulty Horizon software made it look like money was missing from their shops. The key word there, made it look like. Mr. Chalk was speaking in the House of Commons on Tuesday amid the backlash at the handling of the scandal. The former Cabinet Minister Nadine Zawari urged him to bring forward a bill to quash all the convictions. Mr. Chalk said the suggestion was receiving active consideration. Sir Robert Buckland, himself a former Justice Secretary, has repeatedly called for similar measures. He asked Mr. Chalk to now consider the exceptional and unique steps of legislating to quash the convictions. Mr. Chalk said, "It is truly exceptional, it is truly unprecedented, and we need an appropriate solution." Mr. Robert told Sky News earlier that he wants to see convictions removed from those impacted so compensation can be paid. With Sir Keir Starmer yesterday indicating he backed the idea of emergency legislation, Sir Robert said something could be passed within a week or so. Speaking to Sky News, the Work and Pension Secretary Mel Stride said his colleague Mr. Chalk was having discussions with senior members with the justice system to see what could be done to expense and accelerate these appealings in appealing their convictions. This is something that is happening hour by hour. It's not something that is going to happen next week. It is happening right now, and we intend to move quickly, said Mr. Stride. It's really important that we do this because a lot of people clearly have suffered, not just financially, but in terms of mental health and relationship and their standing in local communities and so on. We're moving now at a very considerable pace. Yeah, you need to move at a considerable pace because this should never have happened in the first place. The two former Justice Secretaries have called for legislation to override the convictions, although their options mooted including a mass appeal or removing the Post Office from appeals process. Postal Minister Kevin Hollerake met Mr. Chalk yesterday to discuss the way forward. Speaking in the House of Commons on Monday, Mr. Hollerake said they had devised some options for resolving the outstanding criminal convictions with much more pace. He said then that legislation to create the presumption of innocence had been considered. Comparable compensation has already been made out to some of those impacted by the scandal, and more money is expected to be released in the future. ARF is Fujitsu, the company in which the development of the software would be required to contribute the compensation rather than it coming from the taxpayers' coffers. Mr. Strive told Sky News that would be decided following the conclusion of the independent inquiry into the scandal. Well, they should be forced to do it in some way, shape or form. Yeah, the money should not be coming a single penny from the taxpayer, but yes, it should be coming from this company because they're the ones who rip the souls out of these people. They really have. The Prime Minister's spokesperson said that Fujitsu would be held to account, whether illegally or financially, if it is found to be responsibility for the scandal. Fujitsu developed the Horizon software, which was at fault. By the way, it's the same company that got new contracts recently from the government, which we covered on the Snowflake Viewpoint. Not too much in detail, but yeah. Many of the sub-postmasters and sub-post mistresses were jailed, bankrupted, and in some cases took their own lives. But so far, only 93 convictions have been overturned. And took their own lives. And they done nothing wrong. They took their own lives and they done nothing wrong. A Fujitsu spokesperson said the current Post Office Horizon IT statutory inquiry is examining complex events stretching back over 20 years to understand who knew what, when, and what they did with that knowledge. The inquiry has reinforced the devastating impact on postmasters' lives and that of their families, and Fushishu has apologised for its role in their suffering. Apology is not going to undo this. They are fully committed to supporting the inquiry in order to understand what happened to them and learn from it. Out of respect to the inquiry process, it would be inappropriate for Fushishu to comment further at this time. They bloody knew. I swear they knew. They must have known something. Shishai reiterate the government's position that it would support the Honours Fortitude Committee if it decided to look at removing ex-post office boss Paula Vennells CBE. We're going to look at that in just a moment. He also says that Ed Davey, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, who was postal minister during the coalition, had questions to answer about his actions at the time. Yeah, Liberal Democrats leader he's got some questions to answer too, guys. So this has just dropped just as the time as I'm recording this as well. The former post office boss, Paula Vennells, said to hand back her CBE. There's been growing pressure on her to hand back her honours in the wake of the scandal. She's to hand it back her CBE with immediate effect to meet the fallout of the IT scandal. The scandal had led to convictions of hundreds of thousands of sub-postmasters. The Horizon issues come to public attention following the airing of the ITV drama. Between 1999 and 2015, more than 700 post office branch managers were convicted after the faulty Horizon software made it look like money was missing from their shops. Ms. Vennells said in a statement, "I will continue to support and focus on cooperating with the inquiry and expect to give evidence in the coming months. I have so far maintained my silence as I considered it inappropriate to comment publicly while the inquiry remains ongoing before I can provide my oral evidence. I am, however, aware of my calls from sub-postmasters and others to return by CBE. I have listened and confirmed that I will return my CBE with immediate effect. I am truly sorry for this devastation caused by sub-postmasters and their families whose lives were torn apart by being wrongly accused and wrongly prosecuted as a result of the Horizon system. I now intend to continue focusing on assisting the inquiry and I will not make any public further comments until it has concluded." A government source told Sky News that Ms. Vennells handing back the honour was the right thing to do. Labour's Kevin Jones told Sky News he was bemused by the government's response as it nominated Ms. Vennells for the honour in 2019. Yeah, it does. It does make the government look bad. Lord Annaholt, a former Conservative MP who campaigned on the Horizon scandal, told Sky News that if it had not been for Ms. Vennells' position, he would not have had taken the honours in the first place. He said there have been many people who have behaved really badly, among them Paula Vennells, sorry, mispronouncing the name. But I'm pleased this has now happened because it means that the sub-postmaster can be deemed to concentrate on the wider picture. So who is Paula Vennells? While honours can only be forfeited to the king, a receptionist can renounce theirs voluntarily. This involves them ceasing to refer to themselves with the title while going through the process of getting it annually by the monarch. Ms. Vennells joined the post office as group network director in 2009, having previously worked as L'Oreal, Dixon's, Argos and Whitebeard. She is also an ordained priest. Mrs. Vennells was made chief executive of the post office in 2012, the year the company split with Royal Mail. The post office has been prosecuted sub-postmasters and sub-postmistresses since 2000. In the year Ms. Vennells took over, the company began investigating allegations about the Horizon system. 5 years later, in 2017, a group of staff managed to bring a case against the post office to the High Court. Ms. Vennells came under increased criticism and eventually stepped down in 2019 when she received her CBE. When a judge said in 2019 that sub-postmasters and sub-postmistresses should have their convictions overturned, Ms. Vennells said that she was truly sorry for the suffering caused. Ms. Vennells is not the only person or entity to have faced criticism during her actions. And as we said about Sir Ed Davey there as well, guys. I'll put a link for this one in the description as well, guys. This broken one. By the time probably some of you guys will see this, there may be updates, obviously, to both these stories, guys. But so what are my final thoughts? Well, my final thoughts is that lives have been destroyed and people have taken their own lives at no fault of their own because of this scandal. No amount of money is going to undo the damage, the morality, and the time that has been taken from these people in any way, shape, or form. You can't undo it. You just can't. Like even if you took everything from this company and what they've done, it can't take back the time. It can't take back the lives that have been lost. the abuse that some of these postmasters have gotten from communities. You just can't undo it. And I just don't know what more to add. Then I just hope that these convictions are overturned and that these people are given everything that they need to get back on their feet, of some kind of on their feet, and the friends and families are and those who suffered. I just only hope that this gets sorted as quickly as possible. I really, really do. It should not have to come out of taxpayer money. It should come out of this company and their failure to do so. Because this is an absolute disgusting scandal. And it's going to be rumbling on for a while, guys. So what do you make of the post office scandal so far? What are your thoughts on it? What are your comments about Sir David as well? What are your thoughts about Miss Vennells? What are your thoughts about the government and their time during it? Let me know everything. Share your thoughts, guys, in the comment section down below. I'm sure many of you are as upset and angry as I am about this scandal. If you can, hit the like button, be greatly appreciated. Share this across social media so other people are aware of it. And if you can, hit the bell notification icons to be notified when I upload any more videos. And if you want to financially support me, you can do so by joining my YouTube membership for 99p or joining me on Patreon for exclusive content. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.